And we are live.
Yes.
There it is. Okay, so I guess we're gonna wait for a few people to come on, and then we're gonna get started.
Okay. So first of all, I guess I should say Happy New Year to you and your family, trusting
Same to
that the Lord continues to be success into 2023.
same to you, brother.
Thank you. Any resolutions for this year? I mean, do you follow that uh, practice?
No, I don't. I really don't. Um,
Okay.
if I would call it a resolution, it would be to become the best version of myself, be better than I was last year.
Mm. I
Yeah,
think that makes
I
sense.
yeah. I mean, it's all about progression and becoming the best version of yourself. So
Right.
that's always you're always working
Right.
on that. Once I work on that, then everything else should fall into place.
True. I guess you wouldn't want to start and stop. Like you
Right,
said, it's progression, continuity, and whatever you would last year, chances are you may not have succeeded in reaching all of those goals last year. So at least you want to be able to continue to press
right,
towards them.
right.
Yeah.
Good evening to those of you that have joined in on this conversation. I see we have three viewers so far. So before we get started, can you please share with your Facebook audience, share on your social media sites, everything that you're connected to, so that they can join in on the conversation as well. Um, we have 1 hour of a thought-provoking conversation for you guys tonight. So I pray that you would join in on the conversation. So we're going to get started. For those of
Yes.
them that don't catch us live, you can share the broadcast and they can watch it and still comment, share their comments, and of course, we would um, reply to their comments to the best of our abilities. So we're going to get started. So tonight, I have my good friend and brother, Mr. Whitney Bean, joining in on this conversation. This came about actually. I was at work one day having a conversation with a co-worker of mine, and we were just talking about some stuff, and I was like, "You gotta mind your words." I say, "The power of your words. You have to mind your words." I said, "Maybe I should do a Facebook Live about that," and she laughed. I was like, "Yeah, I think I can do that." I didn't really think anything about it, then. Um, and then shortly after that, me and my wife and I, we came to church, and Bishop Sanders was preaching, and he was preaching about um, basically the power of your words. Um, and I was like, wow. When I went to work the next day, I was like, you wouldn't believe what the preacher spoke about yesterday. When I told her what he spoke about, she laughed. So I was like, you know what? Maybe that is something that I need to do. And then I came to talk to you one day. I was at the barber shop, and I
Right.
shared that with you as well. So it was amazing how things started to fall into place, things started to line up. So here we are on the first day of 2023. So we're starting off the new year, talking about the power of our words. So we have a thought-provoking conversation for you. Trust me, you want to join in on this conversation. I was talking to Mr. Bean about how we're going to go about this, and he shared some stuff with me that he wants to talk about. And trust me, that had me thinking for a minute. So I'm sure that this is going to have you guys thinking as well. So we have I have a particular angle that I was taking it from. He has a completely different angle from I do. So I want to get to his angle because his one is very thought provoking. So of course, from my end, we always go back to the Bible and how we were created in the image and likeness of God. And in that sense, if we are created in the image and likeness of God, then we are able to do the things that He can do. He breathed His breath
Right.
into us, and He made us like Him. So he spoke things into existence. So of course, we should have the power to speak things into existence as well. So, as far as the power of our words, so many times we say things that go against what it is that we're trying to accomplish, or what it is that we're trying to achieve. And when we do that, we don't
Mm-hmm.
realize how we're sabotaging our own selves. So we have to be mindful of the words that we speak, no matter how simple it is. Sometimes we speak damnation over our lives. We speak damnation over our children's lives. We speak damnation over people's lives. And we sometimes it's a joke. But
Right.
even though it's a joke, those words came out of our mouths. And life and death is in the power of the tongue. So whether it's a joke or not, the seed is planted. You released that seed. So you might not mean it seriously, but the seed is out there. So once the words leave our mouths, then the elements, whatever is out there, that take the words and carry it and do what needs to be done, the work has started. So we have to be so careful of what we say to people, what we say about people, what we say about ourselves, what we say over our children,
Mm-hmm.
over people's children. We have to be very careful over people's businesses, everything. We have to be very careful about the words that we speak. We don't realize how powerful this little tongue in our mouths, this
Yes, sir.
little, what do you call it? Um, what's the word I'm looking for? Member. This little member. We don't realize how powerful that little member
Yeah.
is. The tongue, we don't realize. So that was the angle
True.
that I was thinking about, guys. So taking it from a spiritual perspective and talking about, being made in the image and likeness of God, and being able to speak things into existence. But listen to me. My brother, Mr. Whitney Bean, shared some stuff with me and the angle that he wants to take. So I'm going to introduce him. Mr. Whitney Bean, he's a good friend of mine. Um, we did some stuff together in the past, and this guy is amazing. He will make you think, he will challenge the way that you think, he will challenge your perspective on so many things. Once he opens his mouth, he's to me, he's almost like a Miles Monroe. Um, when he opens his mouth and he speaks, the puts you in a position where you will challenge to make change. You're challenged to make change once he starts to share. So I'll introduce to you guys Mr. Whitney Bain. Thank you so much for being a part of this conversation with me today. I know that you have a, a cup full, and I want you to be able to empty your cup today so that we can take what is needed for us, apply it to our lives, and begin to make the change
Right.
that we make, and be mindful of the words that we speak. So without further ado, guys, Mr. Whitney Bain. We can't give him a round of applause, but y'all can give me some thumbs up.
True. First of all, call me Whitney. You don't have to call me Mr. Bain. Just call me Whitney. I hate formalities. Honestly, I don't like them because I was like looking in the back, wondering who's he talking about, and I hope I can remember everything that I would have said to you during our casual conversation. But I'll say this at the beginning, and then I'll start. Um, I am not an authority on the power of your words. I can only speak to you from what God has given me, experiences that I've had, and then insights that I've gathered because of research and investigating things. So that's the only platform I can speak to you from. And when we consider the overall topic, the power of your words, I think it's a profound topic, Bradley. And I do believe that a lot of people want to start off correctly, want to start off right. And speaking of starting off, would you mind just opening in prayer and then we can continue from there?
Sure, no problem. Father, we thank you. Excuse me.
Okay.
We thank you for another day. We thank you for a brand new year, the first day of 2023. We will never see this day again, so we are grateful to be able to be present in this day. We thank you for your grace and your mercies extended to us this day. God, as we're about to start this conversation, I pray that you would open the hearts of those that are tuned in, that they may receive what is said and apply what needs to be applied to their lives. Please bless us, bless myself, bless Whitney, keep us safe
Yeah.
for this year. Help us to be mindful of the words that we speak. even going forward in 2023. We thank you. We adore you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. First of all, I think it's important for us to start off from a standpoint of saying that this whole thing came out for the benefit of persons. It was intended first for men, the audience
Right.
of males, but as you realize, females would join in, and they oftentimes would be present to something
Right.
that is earmarked for men. So everyone is welcome. After
Absolutely.
that, you started. We go ahead.
I was just agreeing with you.
You have a question? Okay, good. And as we started to speak before we went live, I was asking you, well, what's your plan or your resolution for 2023? And what was your response?
Just to be a better version of myself. We
Okay,
always,
right. There was part B you gave as well.
yeah, I was saying that the second part of that is, when we think about that, it's always progression. We're always trying to be better and do better. So it's not so much about having a resolution
Right.
per se, but just working on myself, continuing to work on myself to be the best version of myself.
Right. And so what I drew from that when you said it, Bradley, is that you don't want to just every year come up with some short list of saying, well, this is what I want to do. That's what I want to do in reference to achieving some things within the new year. I do believe that continuity is critical in moving towards maturation, in getting to a place where we are more powerful than we were before, and then also having your mind geared to accomplishing something ultimately.
Right.
A lot of people in their lives are in a start stop kind of fashion. They may not call it a resolution, but they'll start some, and 3 months later, you ask them about, oh, I tired of that, man. I go on to something else. Or
You're
six
right.
months later, they just drop it, right? And so what that does in your mind says, I will start something today. And because that rut is there, 6 months later or 3 months later, you'll find that thing will stop. Why? Because the spirit of continuity or the spirit of building upon what was built already is not existing in your psyche.
Right.
And because of that, you'll find that every year you go on like in a circle, in a circle, in a circle, and you wonder why you're going around in that circle. It's all because you don't have that ability in your mind to say, you know what? I'm going to draft a short term, 3 to 5 years, / long term, 5 to 15 years plan for my life. And every year I will take a chunk of that plan and I will concentrate on it. It brings us to one of our first salient points here, and that's the power of intention. I don't want to jump ahead of myself, but just pin that down. For anyone who wants to make notes or just mentally put it there, put down the power of intention, because the power of intention is critical power of your words. If you understand where I'm coming from, and you will eventually, as we get in deeper into this conversation, you realize that your words are so powerful, but they came somewhere. And so let's start from there. Where did the words come from? Where do you think the words came from, Bradley?
Where do words in general come from?
Yeah. Where do your words come from?
My words. Um, I
Yeah.
I
If I were to pose a question to you right now, listen, if I were to pose a question to you right now and I say to you, Bradley, what do you feel is your best strength? Conversely, your biggest weakness?
Or you want me to answer that question, or you just ask, or you want me to just?
Yeah, I want you to answer it. I'm going to answer it myself as well.
What is my strength? I
Yeah,
think
your
for me,
biggest strength and then your greatest weakness.
my weakness. I think my I think mine is like a twofer though. I think I think caring is a strength and a weakness for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think mine
Okay.
is a two. Yeah, I care a lot, and then it could
Right.
be a bad thing as well sometimes, because then you kind of care too
Okay.
much, you kind of take on more than you need to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I think mine is a
Right.
two for
So you're like what they call an empath.
yes,
You're someone who is very touched by the feelings and emotions of others.
right,
And while that is a good thing in certain situations, it could be a bad thing because people can key in on that and take advantage
right,
of it.
right.
Okay. So for me, I think one of my greatest strengths is my ability to be detail oriented.
Okay,
I can walk into a room and immediately see ways to change things. I can listen to a person in conversation and immediately pinpoint some things that they can do to help themselves and strengthen themselves. But one of my greatest is procrastination.
mm,
Oh my God, it drives me crazy that I have great plans, but I find myself procrastinating, not executing on the plans in a timely fashion when I should, how I should, and in a fashion that would bring great success. So I ask that because of this. When we talk about the power of our words, I want us to consider this, Bradley. Whenever you hear people talk on a topic or conversation or even about themselves, you have to ask yourself how much of that information that they're putting out there is from their own mind or from the opinions or thinking of someone else. So that's why I asked you, where do you think words come from? Did they come from the person themselves, or did they actually come from someone else? Were they influenced by someone else? Or were they influenced by an environment they were exposed themselves to that caused them to be of an opinion in a certain way, either about themselves or something else? So
right.
oftentimes when people speak, they are not speaking from who they personally are. Let me tell you why I believe that's the case. Right now, our environment, our life, and our world is controlled or spins around information.
Right.
Bradley, we are bombarded with information. Time we wake up in the morning, God forbid you reach for your phone. Just you
Uh,
reach for your phone to turn off the alarm or to reach for your phone to see who communicated with you on WhatsApp. You read messages from WhatsApp, information pouring in. You watch videos from WhatsApp, information pouring in. And all these videos are from people who have their own perspectives to impress upon you how you should feel about either a certain topic, a certain person, or a certain perspective.
right.
From there, you jump to YouTube. You're watching videos on YouTube. From there, you go and take a shower. From the shower, you come out. Or no, before you come out the shower, in the shower, you're either playing motivational music, something from uh, John Hagee or whomever,
So,
instrument, whatever it may be. You jump out of the shower, you look at Facebook again. If you wake up at 6:30, before 9 o'clock, you are bombarded with thousands of images, sounds, words, everything. And do you realize that everything that you hear and see makes an impression upon you? It forms your opinions,
right.
it forms your perspective as a person, and it forms who you think you are. I believe that what's happening right now is a dastardly trick of the enemy. When I say that, I mean this. We were in lockdown, COVID lockdown, for what, 2 years? About a year and a
About
half, roughly, would you say?
2 years or more.
Okay. Consider what, okay. So, yeah, let's say 2 years we were just either housebound or very limited in our movements.
Right.
During that time, people became authorities on Netflix. They watch series after series after series, watch YouTube videos. they made YouTube videos. All of this was just information pouring in, pouring in, pouring in. Now, there's some things that took place when that happened. During all that time, there is noise that was, we hardly ever had time to think to ourselves, to think about who we are and what we want to do and how we want to do it, how we want to move forward. A lot of persons sought entertainment as opposed to self-reflection.
Right.
So all that entertainment I call noise. Something I ask people oftentimes, do you know yourself? Do you know who Whitney is? Do you ever take the time to sit and just no video, no TV, no music, nothing, and just think? Oftentimes when you do that, you get a bunch of noise. You don't get anything fulfilling or making sense that's in your head. Why? Because that thing is just full with noise.
Right.
Many years ago, a pastor spoke a word as it relates to cleaning your nets. Now, when I was a young boy, my dad is from Abaco. He's a fisherman. You know, Crossing Rock Sandy Point is a fishing village, fishing villages. And my dad knew how to make the nets, the gill net and also the regular nets. And I would see him, and he would make the wooden needle that you can feed more through, and he would actually make the nets. I wish I had learned that. Man, I wish I had. But oftentimes, when they go out in the boat, when they come back, you would see them sharing bonefish, you know, on slabs of 2 by plywood. They would be sharing bonefish, right? But after they shared the bonefish and took them out of the net, guess what he would be doing? He would be cleaning the net, because there would be seaweed, which we would like burst in our hands.
Right.
There would be coral, pieces of rock, pieces of wood, all these things. And while the eating things, as fish or other things, other fish, the net also caught things that were not useful.
Right.
I say that to say this. We find that on a daily basis, the noise around us, the habits and practices that we've been connected to, watching a bunch of videos, watching a bunch of movies, listening to music, rather than really understanding who we are now impressed upon by so many other people's perspectives and opinions and everything. All of these things, just like the net example, are things that are not useful. I propose, and I put for the person maybe watching this live, or even persons who will watch it later, I ask them, it is important for you to take time to know who you are. And knowing who you are, you actually draw in the fish, for example, to the net. But if you allow yourself to be influenced by so many different things out there, you'll find yourself in the net example, bringing in the seaweed and the rock and the stick, things that are not useful. So ultimately, the power of your words are affected by the information that comes into your mind. For out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. I know I said a lot, but let me give you some time to kind of come.
I have a question for you. So you talk about watching all the
Yes,
videos,
sir.
the TikTok videos, and going on Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff. Just as you wake up, you grab your phone, you do all that stuff.
Mhm.
So what about those persons that
Right.
wake up in the morning and they go on to uh, podcasts, positive podcasts, self-affirming
Mhm.
podcasts, or maybe watching preachers. Um, so they're listening to sermons and all that other stuff. What about those persons? Um, would you say that even though that's positive, and they can learn from that, they can take stuff from that, would you say that that's just noise as well? Because they still need that time to sit with themselves, to think about
Right.
who they are and what life means for them.
Well, I would think that, first of all, I don't think it's noise. I think the quality of that information is better than just
Okay.
foolish videos, music, and just other stuff that's not beneficial.
Okay.
However, you said something just now that I think is pivotal to what we're discussing. If they start off with listening to motivational items and sermons or podcasts that will uplift them and benefit them, they need to also take some time by themselves, register the information that they just heard, how best they can apply into their lives to make a better existence for themselves. So you can't just be feeding in information and not acting it. That Bradley, that's the main reason why our churches are the way they are. A lot of Christians just go to church, listen to the word, do not apply it. When issues start in their lives, they run to the pastor, they run to the prayer band leader or the missionary or whomever to get some kind of relief. But the thing is, valuable information was given. Valuable information was given. But they themselves draw back from it because they have not applied it. And in not applying it, there's a result to that as well. You'll find that you'll just weak.
Right. So I have another question. What or
Yes, sir.
um, how do we? Because our children now they're consumed with video games and TikTok. TikTok is the thing for
Hmm.
young kids now. Video games, TikTok,
Right.
YouTube, all that. So how do we get our children? How do we reprogram them to get to know who they are outside of being fed all of that toxic stuff? Because the video games that they play in have a bunch of killing and
Right.
bloodshed and all that other stuff, and then you go to TikTok, and TikTok, anything is on TikTok, anything is on YouTube. They have access to all that
Right.
stuff, so we reprogram them now, so that we can begin to teach them to mind their words, to watch their words, and teach them how powerful their words are.
Well, first of all, I believe we need to be intentional about how we raise our children and how we allow them to develop and be individuals. That's an uphill battle because this world, the way it's set up now, everything is electronic. Even the bank's going all electronic now. And a lot of people are upset by that. However, I do believe that once persons realize the value of getting to know themselves, they'll see that that will be beneficial years in the future.
Okay.
I think it's wise that and the rise of suicide has been tremendous worldwide when after we've been exposed to the COVID pandemic and being locked inside, not having that human touch and connection, and a lot of people have delved into or dived into the virtual world. The virtual world has become their friend, their lover, their guide, every aspect of what they need as a person. They seem to want to seek that from the virtual world. And if we don't pull our children away, allow them to play outside, allow them to interact with things that will cause their mind to be stimulated, as opposed to just press a button, shooting a fictional gun, and oftentimes your mind looks at your mind doesn't differentiate between what is fictional and what is real. It sees it all as being real. So
Right.
when you shoot someone in a video game, your mind someone in live in real time. And you'll find that a lot of people have gone the way of suicide. A lot of people have gone the way of violence because the mind doesn't differentiate between what is real and what is fictional. I believe that it's important for us to get our children to a point where they start to get on the outside, fish. If you take them fishing, don't take any music. Put your phone on silent, put it in a plastic bag and secure it. But just be out there. Just listen to the wind. Just listen to the waves. Just listen to the bait as you throw it in the water And as you spin the reel or pull with your hand to pull the fish in, what this does, it helps people, it helps young people and old people to actually get to know their thoughts. Bradley, do you realize? I don't know if it happens for you, but for me, whenever I'm at a place where I'm just, calm and relaxed and say walking the beach, for example, so many thoughts, so many ideas, so many things flood my mind. In the nighttime, after I take a shower and I just lie on the bed, no music, no phone, no TV, nothing. My brother, I have to have a pad and a pen next to me because the ideas that come are just awesome. What I'm saying is that a lot of what's happening in our world right now is preventing us from getting to the true us. It's preventing us from getting to a place where we can really learn and understand who we are and know the value that's within us. Many of us can do great things. Powerful businesses are within so many people, powerful ideas, but the noise of everything around them, the pursuit of distractive activities are pulling them so that they can't focus intently is sufficient that idea into some purposeful. We're on StreamYard right now on a computer talking to each other. For those who are tuned in or those who will see this later, they can use the same computer or phone to actually listen to this. Bradley, this was in the mind of a person before time.
Right.
They used that information, that thought that came to them. They acted upon it. They wrote it down, or they may have said it to someone, enlisted the help of others to bring that thought into reality ultimately. And I do believe that it's a trick of the enemy to just keep us busy doing things and not allowing us to really focus in intently on something to bring it from concept to reality. And I believe a lot of our children are failing. That's why I believe a lot of our children are just distracted. Some have suicidal tendencies or suicidal thoughts. Their world is the computer. Their world is online. And they don't have any social skills to be able to interact with other children or interact with adults. There's a balance that is needed between our lives and the electronic world we live in. There's nothing we can do about this. This is it. So we have to get to a place where we interact with it. Some people need the computer for their work. Some people need the phone for their work. People have allowed everything that's happening around them to pull them to a place whereby they aren't balanced. And if we aren't balanced, we're not going to accomplish anything.
That's good.
I got to
That's
move to
good.
get one thing here quickly.
Okay.
My batteries are running low.
So you you started off you started talking about where the words come from. So where were you going to go from there?
Right.
Because I'm sure that those that are tuned in, they want to hear um, where you were going with that. So can we talk about that some more? And how are we to be mindful? I know we spoke about our words coming from stuff that we see, we watch, we hear.
Right.
We form an opinion, so
Right.
we
Right.
tend to share, speak, someone else's opinion. Um, and we mentioned briefly about the words. If we're speaking for ourselves, or we're speaking, someone is speaking to us by the words that we say. So can you elaborate on that some more?
Okay. So this is how I see it. When we talk about the power of your words, the words are the end product, but the words are not the beginning. Your thoughts actually come about in your mind, and the thoughts that are formulated in your mind are formulated, one, from your original thoughts, but also it's impressed upon by the things you hear and that you see and the environment around you. oftentimes you'd find, I found this. I was doing some personal development training for some young people in Abaco many years ago. And I think the young man was about maybe 11 or 12. I don't recall his name, but it was a white Bahamian and 11 or 12. And he would tell me how on the weekends his father would take fishing and teach him how to use the boat, how to run the boat. His dad would teach him how to break down the engine and how to put the engine back again. Now, Bradley, I was 40 something when this young man was talking.
Ah,
I am not mechanically inclined at all. I felt so ashamed. This 11, 12-year old was able to do these things. Why? The environment he was exposed to framed his mind with the ability and caused the natural talents within within his eye, ear, and hand coordination to be able to execute on the things his father was teaching him. Could another child have done that? But if the child was not in that environment and they would just put out there to say, okay, break down this engine, put it back again, they would look stupid. All right? They would look
for those of you that are tuning in, if you have any questions, feel free to ask questions. Please share your comments. Please share the live on your news feed as well, so that other persons can join in on the conversation. Excuse me. So don't be afraid to ask questions. This is a conversation that we're having. Of course, we don't know all the answers. We don't know everything, so we will do our best to answer your questions to the best of our ability. And if you may think of something after the live is over, feel free to comment under the live, so that we can still respond to your questions and comments, respectively. Thank you for joining in. I see Roberto. I see Vincent. I saw a couple other persons join in. I saw my big sister Celine. I saw my aunt Dee Dee. So feel free to share and, like I say, ask your questions. Hey, Mr. B, you're back.
Oh, Bradley, please forgive me for that. My computer died on me.
That's
So
fine.
I've switched to the phone. Can you hear
Okay.
me okay?
Yes.
Okay, all right, good stuff. Can I continue?
Sure.
Okay, so I was talking about the young man in Abaco, the 11 or 12-year-old that was able to break down boat engines, captain a boat, do all these different things, all because of the environment he was raised in, all because of the stimuli that was presented to him in that environment. And then also his father was coaching him. So the father was passing on information that would benefit the son. Now, at 11 or 12 years old, having the ability to already break down an engine, put it back again, what do you think he's doing now? I think that was at least 10 years ago. So this young man is about 21, 22 right now.
Right.
He's probably building boats. He's probably doing all kinds of stuff if he continued on that path. So when we talk about the power of words, words don't just come from our mind. Words are formed and framed from our very thoughts. And our thoughts are then influenced by our environment, by the things we hear, by the things we speak about, by the things we listen to. And all these things tend to frame our thoughts. And from, like I said, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. And I do believe that it's important for us to watch what we watch. Be careful of what we expose our eyes to. Be careful of what we expose our ears to. If we are going to be pursuing good goals or goals that would be beneficial into the future, we have to be intentional about putting our focus on it and not causing our focus to divert. Excuse me.
We have a comment, a comment here by Vincent. He's saying that it could have been a generational thing for the young man as well. His grandfather and great grandfather probably did the same thing as far as coding and breaking down the engine and stuff like that. So that's another point as well to be taken into consideration.
Yeah, I think Vincent makes a good point. The excuse me, the aspect of the grandfather coming in, probably the grandfather taught the son, and
Right.
probably the son is now, and obviously the son is now teaching his son or the grandson to the grandfather. And who knows, the grandfather may still be alive and may still have an influence and an effect on the grandson.
True.
Man, Bradley, listen, I know this is not a part of the topic, but I got to say this. One of my greatest regrets in life was not knowing any of my grandparents. My brother, I saw my dad's father twice in his life. One time he came to our house, and the second time we went to his house. He was a taller man, but he was blind at the time. He was a boat captain. And my father was a boat captain as well. No training, But those people in Abaco are just talented, man. I mean, from they were young, they were captaining boats. So my dad picked up from my grandfather, but I learned nothing from my grandparents because I did not have them.
Right.
I really wish my grandfather was alive long enough that I could have learned some things from him. I wish my grandmother was alive that she could have taught me some things. And for those of you who have grandparents out there who are still alive that you can interact with or engage with, please take the time. Please take the time. Have your children, if your parents are still alive, engaging with your parents. That's what I did with my sons when they were young. I made sure they spent time with my mom and my dad. I made sure that they learned things and picked up things. And guess what, Radley? The the boating genes skipped the generation. My grandfather was a boatsman, a captain. My father was a boatsman, a captain, building nets and building boats and all of that, oars and everything. It skipped me. And I don't know if it was because my sons were exposed to my father, but both of my sons are in the marine industry. Both
Wow.
are captains. Both can maintain boats, and I mean they amaze me. One is a certified scuba diver from high school.
Wow.
So this is the power of intent. If
Right.
we are to do anything as it relates to the power of our words, our thoughts have to be intentional on what it is that we seek to achieve. Ladies and gentlemen, this is 2023, January 1. If you're to do anything spectacular or meaningful in this year, you have to focus in on it. Focus in on it and then watch it come to pass. I know I'm talking a lot, Bradley, but I go shut up now so that you can come in for a little bit. Let me say this to you. Twice in my life, I hit a sweet spot as it relates to manifestation, manifesting things. I think I was in my teens or early 20s. Bradley, every single thing that I thought about or desired came to me with no effort. It came to me. I always thought about that. And as I grew older, I think it was in my 30s when it happened again. I was just at a point where anything I had asked for, the Lord was bringing to me. And the doorways just opened effortlessly. And I tried to remember what it is that I did or how I thought that brought this thing to pass. I recall certain things that happened. I remember that I would say what it is or think of what it is that I wanted. And when I thought about it, oftentimes I didn't say it verbally, but I just saw it coming. And so when we think about the power of words, I ask this question: are words verbal or are they first mental? What do you think about that?
Hmm. That's a good question.
I propose that it's mental. Because, like I said, out of the heart, the mouth speaketh. And persons may say, well, how could thoughts come from the heart? Many years ago, Bradley, I was connected to this website called Heart, Heart, Math, Math. So the Heart Math Institute. And I learned that during the first few days of a baby being born or formed into the womb, obviously the cells are splitting every day, right? The cells are splitting. And do you realize that the heart is the first organ that is created in the body, in that zygote, in that baby, that embryo? And the heart actually orchestrates all the activities of the body. Several days later, the brain starts to form and then it takes over the function. My point is this: when the word says, out of the heart, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh, I was confused by that for many years. When I learned that there were actually brain cells in the heart that orchestrated the development of the baby early on, I realized, you mean David them knew this? I don't think they knew it. I just think they were guided by the Holy Spirit to know that out of the heart, the wellspring of life, the thing that actually causes you to live, out of the heart, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. And so the brain cells that cause the baby to form in that early stage use then that ability to bring about the formation of the mind or the brain, and then the formation of everything else being fed by the heart with the bloodstream pumping to it. So it has to be mental. Words come out of your mind. Words come from there first, and then the mouth says it.
Right.
That's why it's important to keep that mind clean, keep it free from all kind of foolishness and debris, because it's going to make you sluggish.
Right. Yes, that is so true. Um, we have a question. Vincent is
Yes,
asking,
sir.
how do we get to that place of passing it down? I don't know if you understand that question. I know we were talking about the whole voting thing then when he asked the question. So I don't know, Vincent, if you want to elaborate on exactly what you mean when you ask that question, so that we could answer it as best. Yeah,
Repeat it for me,
he
Bradley.
said, how do we get to that place of passing it down?
How do we get to that place of,
Passing it down.
you mean from the example of the grandfather and the father and the son?
We were talking about that. So, like I say, he could be, making reference to that, or it could be a general question. But I'm sure that he's still on, so
Right.
that's why I'm asking him to um, elaborate a little bit more exactly what he means.
But do you think I should answer it from the standpoint of the father and the grandfather and the son?
Oh, he's talking about knowledge. How do we get to the point of passing down the knowledge?
Well, I think forums like this is ideal for that. Um, one thing I'm very jealous about is that women tend to gather, and in connecting and just being there for each other, information is passed on, techniques and strategies are passed on. But for us men, we hardly gather. I mean, we gather at the bar, we
Right.
gather at parties and stuff like that. But how much meaningful conversation really takes place at the bar? I don't know if much conversation takes place there. But I think forums like this, and not just with one person talking,
Right.
while I may be sharing insights from what I've known or experienced as it relates to the power of words and even the power of thought and intent, others may have different perspectives as well. And I think they,
Right.
they need to be welcome and they need to be entertained, because when you realize someone can speak it from a different perspective, and a light bulb goes off in your head and you say, wow, I never saw it like that, you know? And so
Yeah.
that's why I think that for men need to do more things together. And I know your organization, the Man Cave Experience, you've made some inroads in years past into bringing men together. But I encourage you to even make more forums and public sessions available for men who would be interested to learn from different persons. Iron sharpens iron, the Bible talks about. And what that means to me is that your perspective on a topic, along with my understanding of that topic, can allow me to grow as a person. I will leave that session a better man for having heard your comments to what was being discussed. So that's what I believe is important and necessary for us to grow as men. Um, Beyond that, I'd also add that it's difficult to find true friends nowadays. I don't know if you found that to be the case, but I mean friends who really would speak to you from their heart and speak to the man in you to encourage you to move on and press forward. A lot of people, very superficial conversations. They talk about football, or they talk about basketball, and they know more about these athletes than they know about their little 10-year-old son who is dying to spend more time with them, but they by the bar, or they by a friend house, or they're just doing things that is not really beneficial.
Right.
So I think men one-on-one need to connect more with each other and share powerful, meaningful information. Please. I recognize everyone likes to get off on football or basketball from time to time. But man, hey, what is your 5-year plan? What are you doing? What do you wish to accomplish in the next 3 to 5 years? Let's have
you
a
going
powerful conversation about that.
you going
Sorry, go
for
ahead.
five, you going as far as 5 years. Ask them for a 3 month plan.
Okay.
Some of them don't even have a three
I
month plan.
okay. But I believe we can help each other though. For those of us who may be thinking in that direction, we can say to them, you know what? Let me help you to build this 5-year plan or this 1 year plan or this 6 month plan. What is it that you want to accomplish? And put it out there, and I can show you how to actually do from day one to day two to day three and how to actually accomplish that over 6 months. And a lot of people, I'll end on this by saying this. A lot of people, they just want results quick, fast, and hurry. Bradley, it takes time to build. It
Right.
takes time, effort, energy, and focus to build. A lot of
And
people want to see
resources.
things happen so quickly. Sorry, go ahead.
I say and resources.
Yes, and resources. Now, that's where others come in. If you have people of like mind, resources can be had from the group.
Right.
So the ideas, the great ideas can come together. The group can source the resources, put all of their energies into accomplishing that goal. And by the end of it, everyone benefits.
Right. I feel like speaking from dealing with the market experience and stuff that we've done in
Right.
the past, I feel like a lot of times men um, they want to, I guess that I would say that they want to get to a place where they are comfortable um, to be able to open up and share. I always share
Right.
this sentiment with those that I would speak to one on one. I feel like so many times we go through things in our lives, um, and we don't realize that the brother on the side of us may have gone through the very same thing, simply because
Right.
we don't talk, we don't share, we don't open up and talk. Because I could be going through something and you could have gone through something, but you might not be as comfortable sharing your story, even though you've already gone through it. Um,
Right.
Sometimes when that happens, maybe if I share my story, you'd be like, oh, well, I experienced the same thing, and this is how I got to XYZ. And I
Right.
see it from a different perspective because the way that I was dealing with it wasn't really helping me. I wasn't really helping myself. So now hearing your perspective and the way that you handle it and going through whatever, now I could see it from a different lens now. And I could
Right.
try and apply something that you would have done to get through what I'm going through. So a lot of times I feel like
Right.
we need to get to the place where we don't care. It doesn't matter
Right.
what someone thinks about us. It doesn't matter the opinion that they form about us after we share what we had to share. But I think that's what holds a lot of us back from
Right.
sharing. We think about, well, they're going to look at me differently. They're not going to respect me, or I'm going to lose whatever clout that I had with the boys. So I won't open up and share. But I think we need to get to the place where all of that doesn't even matter, because everybody has their struggle, everybody has their test, everybody has their stuff that they're dealing with.
Right.
So your story is different from mine, but you have your stuff to deal with too, just like I have my stuff to deal with.
Right.
Some of our stuff connected, believe it or not. So us
Right.
sharing, going through and dealing with, or what we would have gone through or dealt with, could help the next brother to grow, to help him to
Right.
come through his situation. But we don't, like you said, we went when we
I
get
agree.
together. When we get together, we want to talk about basketball, we want to talk about football, we want to talk about women, we want to talk about drinking, we want to talk about smoking and all these other stuff, all the trivial stuff we want to talk about, but we don't
Mhm.
have those meaningful conversations that we need to have.
Right. I agree. And that comment is very, very powerful. Um, I don't want to alienate any females that may be online or watching this afterwards, but I want to just speak to men, just for a minute or so, as it relates to the power of your words. Gentlemen, I believe that if you can get to a place where you really think about your life, where you are right now, whether you have the resources or you don't have the resources, just think about who you are, where you are. You may be married, you may not be married, you may have children, but you may have, a couple different baby mamas, right? So all this kind of stuff is happening with you. But I think it's important for you to consider the way you think, adjusting the way you think. If you don't like the results that have been experiencing over the last few years, last few months, start to change the way you approach life and the way you think about life. If you have a smoking habit or a drinking habit, consider how much resources are being directed to the smoke, or the smokes, cigarettes, or to the drink, or to the bad habits, and redirect that. I know it's easy to say, but just follow me here. Redirect those resources to something that you feel can benefit you in the future. So, first of all, get a goal in mind. Get a goal as to where you want to go. Don't make it big. Something simple. In 1 month, you want to smoke half of the cigarettes you smoke already. If you're a 4 pack a week cigarette smoker, is that even a relevant amount? Some people smoke a pack a day. Anyway, let's say it's 4 packs for the week. See if you can make it 2 packs for the week. And the 2 pack amount of money that you would spend on that, save that money for your goal. By the end of the second month, see if you can make it 1 pack a week and save the money for those 3 packs for a goal that you have in mind. And by the end of 3 months, you'll be off cigarettes. Now, this sounds easier by me saying it than it is physically. But Bradley, I believe if persons get desperate enough for change, if they are so switched on about making their lives different, they will make the sacrifice, they will make the change.
Right.
And then, gentlemen, as you're going through this process, speak powerful words to yourself. I am smoke free. I will accomplish my goals. My
Affirmation.
Lord, look at Colonel Sanders. Colonel Sanders was trying to get KFC off the market, or off the drawing board. He was, I think, 60 something years old. And eventually this man became successful. I think Bruce Lee also said something similar. And I say this. He talked about the power of water. And if anyone is observant, they look at how the waves lap into very hard water or hard rock, sorry. And the softness of that water breaks down that rock over time until you have coves and little inlets where sandy beaches form. All of this is because of the continuation of water flowing, soft against hard, soft against hard. You have to speak words of life. No matter how difficult your life may seem, those same words, as soft as they may seem, the soft against the hard will break it down. It'll break that hardness down until you get to a place whereby your powerful words of life over your own existence and your goals, which you want to accomplish, enables you to accomplish it. And Bradley, I believe that. I've seen it happen in my life. But you got to be consistent, gentlemen. You got to speak words of life. Your words have to be powerful in the right direction, and keep your intention on where it is you want to go. Keep your intention there until you make it.
That's some good stuff. That's some
Amen. Amen.
good. You, for those of you that are tuned in, do you have any questions for us? We're It's 6 o'clock. Our hour is out.
Wow.
So
That was
we
quick.
will entertain any questions that you may have. So feel free to ask your questions. If you have any comments that you want to add to what has been said. I saw my auntie saying, "So true, men need to support other men." Um,
Yeah.
that's something that we're working on. That's a work in process. Um, is eventually you sharing the scripture as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Um, So, any questions for those of you that have been tuning in the Power of Your Words? For those of you that are just joining in, do you have anything to say towards the Power of Your Words? Any experiences that you may have had with the power of your words? Feel free to share. I will read your comments, your questions, anything that you have to say. Um, it's so interesting, like because initially when I spoke to you, we were going to do this tomorrow. Um,
Right.
and then I came back and I was like, let's do it on the first. I think it's
Right.
this something to start the year with, so that we can, like you say, be intentional about the words that we speak,
Right.
the words that are formed in our thoughts. We have to be intentional about um, our mind's eye, our eye
Mm-hmm.
gate, and our ear gate, what
Right.
we what we what we what we watch and what we listen to. Um, so we have to be intentional about that. And once we're intentional about it, then I feel like our lives will take a different course.
Right.
Sometimes we go around in circles because we're not saying anything.
Right.
We're silent. So we're not speaking to those soft words that you mentioned just now. We're not speaking to the situation. We're not saying anything. So the cycle is continuing. And I think once we begin to be intentional about speaking to what's happening in our lives, then we begin to see the change taking place. We have a question from Vince. He says, "How can we break the spirit of pride in men?" Oh,
Wow.
I.
Wow. That's a powerful question. Bradley, I believe that the more we can get men coming together around a particular topic, see, men are doers. Men want to see action. They don't like to talk a lot. Now, the women can talk. They'll talk all the time. But women get things done too. But men are doers. Men are going to want to do something. They're going to want to see something tangible come out of the time they spend on a certain area or in a certain area. So I believe if we create some safe spaces for men, like say for example, we do a project in 2023 and we invite all interested men to involve themselves in this project. And we do it online and also in person. When we meet, we split, say for example, we get 200 men. We split 200 men into 4 groups, and 50 of those four groups. They focus in on one aspect of this project, and they put all their effort and their energy into this project, the part that's given to them. Then we come back as a group, maybe 6 months or 3 months afterwards, and then we compare notes as to what we would have done. See, that's something that at the end of that coming together after 3 months, you'll find that these men will be so charged, and we'll create an environment whereby they not only feel safe to share, but they'll also feel free to share. And then at the end of 6 months again, we come back, and then they start to see the progress from 3 months to 6 months. Man, they'll be tuned in. Before you realize it, we have 400 men working on a certain project that will benefit everyone at the end of the year. And can you imagine, Bradley, at the end of the year, us being able to come back and say, gentlemen, look at what we've been able to accomplish. We show them what the formula or the concept was in month number 1. We show them what progress was made in month number 3, 6, and 9. And then, God willing, let's say for this example, we finish it, we complete it in month number 12. And then we gather them all together and we say, gentlemen, thank you so much for your efforts during this 12 months. I know it's been difficult. There have been so many different ideas and perspectives on this topic, but here it is. We've worked and this is what we've accomplished. Can you imagine us at the end of 12 months putting something before these men? They see it as something of value. They can treasure it. They can pass it down to their children, their sons. They can teach their sons, well, this is how we did it. And then you can translate that from just some concept or idea to some business idea, whereby you can say 200 men came together. They worked on this business idea. At the end of 12 months, they were able to bring about a profit in whatever they were doing. Men need a safe space. That's how they're going to be able to open up, because every man has something of value and worth to share. Every single man, no matter he could not have finished high school. He may have dropped out in primary school, but that doesn't mean he's stupid or ignorant or dumb. Every single man has something of value and worth that they can put forth to any kind of effort that's making sense and going somewhere. And they'll feel better too, because no matter how they feel about themselves, when they get in that environment and they give something and someone says, wow, man, I never heard that. Bro, thank you so much. That boosts their confidence and allow them to come out more. And then you'll see the real talent and ability spring forth. That's my perspective on that.
That's a good perspective. I don't even need to add to that. I don't even need to add
Hey,
to
Bradley, I want to say this thing here. Words are thoughts in action. Think about that. Words are thoughts in action. I'll share the story. In 2004, my wife and I were laying on the bed. It was probably about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. And we were saying, we were just kind of visualizing how we want the future to be. Then we were saying, boy, it'd be awesome if you could find a job, maybe on an island somewhere, and all bills taken care of, all costs taken care of, like housing and car and food and gas and all these different things taken care of. And it is amazing that, maybe you get a good amount of money, a good salary for the job, and these things happening would really help us right now, because we were going through a tough financial time. And Bradley, I don't know if it was more than 6 months after we were voicing that thought and our ideas into the atmosphere. And we weren't praying, we weren't in a posture of prayer. We were in the posture of saying, what is it that you would like to see? And she started to say what she would like to see. And I started to say, this is what I would like to see. And my brother, in less than 6 months, ring, ring, ring. I say, hello, who's this? A gentleman I'd worked with many years ago. Whitney, I've been trying to reach you for months now. I say, okay, so what's happening? he started to outline to me an opportunity that is available on an out island. Hear this now. The same conversation we had in the bed started to materialize in the physical. Opportunity on an out island, this new resort development, private home category type development is happening. We believe that you may be someone who could fit well in what's happening here. So Bradley calls, he says to me, if you're interested, think about it a day or two or whatever, get back to me, and then I can arrange for you to come over just to get a feel for it and see if this is something that you want to do. I hung up the phone. Bradley, me and my wife started to talk about this, and we were so excited. Like hairs on my head were raising because the exact conversation we had months ago. And guess what, Bradley? The conversation, we forgot about it. We released it into the atmosphere. We said what we wanted to see, and we forgot about it. And the phone call and the conversation on the phone caused it to come back to our remembrance and say, well, Moro. Needless to say, a few days later, I was on a plane to this place. When I got there, I was just floored by the property itself, by the opportunity, every single thing. And my brother, within a few weeks, I was on an island working with everything that I talked about. So what I'm saying is this, and that's an encouragement to those of you who are wondering, well, Lord, when my breakthrough coming? Lord, when my open door coming? Do not look to that open door. Do not pray for an open door. Start to speak what you want to see. And Bradley, guess what? We were focused in on one, pleasing the Lord with our lives, as in living right. We were just loving each other as a couple, living our lives, and guess what? We were not complaining. I tired of this. I tired of this. I can't make no money. I struggling from week to week. I tired. Okay, you will have what you say. Not only will you be tired, your finances will be tired. But if you flow into this thing with a passion, doing the right things, putting it out there what it is that you want to see, and just leaving it. The word says, ask and it shall be given. Seek and you shall find. Knock and the door will be open unto you. All we have to do is follow his words and have confidence to know that he will come through with those words. For years I was over on that island. It helped my family tremendously. So God does care about what's happening with us. But we have to use our words and the power of our intention to make sure that we're saying the right things to get the right results.
And to add to that, it's not to say that um, just speaking the words alone that it's going to automatically happen. There are things that
Right.
um, we have to make sure that we are in the right position. We have to make sure that we're in the right posture as well. So it's not just saying it and then it magically happens. So
Right.
we don't want to get the wrong idea or concept of anything that we say here today. We have to be intentional about our words, but there's still stuff
Right.
that we have to do on a personal level. We have to work it out. We have to work it out ourselves. Nobody can do it for us. We have to do the work ourselves. So whatever it is that we need to do within ourselves, so that we can ensure
Right.
that we are in the right position and we are in the right posture for when that door does open. Because
Right.
we could see it, and if we do nothing, the door could be open in front of us and we don't even see it.
And guess what, Bradley? That's similar to the vibration of the frequency of heaven. If you go to your radio right now and you put it to 8:10 a.m., what you gonna get?
Yeah, yeah.
You can get ZNS.
Right.
If you put it to 103.7 FM, what you gonna get?
Dove.
You're gonna get Dove.
Right.
So you have to be aligned to the frequency of heaven to get these things happening. I believe that persons who are following a lifestyle after Christ, who are Christians, when they align themselves to the frequency of heaven, it sounds stupid and simple, but read your Bible, pray every day, and you'll grow. Is that there is a formula for success. Do unto others as you would have them to do unto you, another formula for success. There are so many people who could use help and assistance all around our island. I mean, homelessness is just skyrocketed on Grand Bahama. Why don't we show some kindness when you drive past that homeless person and the Spirit of God speaks to you and says, go buy them something from the restaurant or get them something to eat, and you disregard that, you come off the frequency of heaven. You disengage yourself from that. So who knows what information was coming through that frequency that would have benefited you, but because of your disobedience, you came off of it. All I'm saying is that we need to be in the right position, on the right frequency, vibrating at the right frequency to get these things to happen. Am I saying that you should be a Christian and get the benefits of heaven? Yes. I know it rains on the just and the unjust. I know that people who aren't Christians benefit from the goodness of God as well. But if you align yourself, if you connect yourself with God Himself, the kingdom of God, the frequency of heaven running through your body, through your mind, now coming through your mouth into this visible, tangible world, you'll find that great things will happen. More so than if you were not connected to God through salvation.
I see Vincent said, let Whitney know, product of Mary Knob.
Which Vincent is that?
Vincent Ewing.
Vincent, oh, okay. Hey, Vincent, good to hear from you, brother. Yeah, Mary Knob was a very profound person in my life. I mean, I don't know if did you know her, by the way, Bradley?
I know the name, but not to say that I would have, you know, I don't think I've ever
Yeah. Well,
been. Uh,
so okay, you know what? This ties right into the power of your words, and as it relates to the power of your thought, right? And people having impression and intention on your thoughts. Bradley, many years ago, I was not a good boy. I was moving in the wrong direction fast. Mind you, my mom and dad didn't grow me up like that. But there was one time I was doing things so much to get under my dad's skin. He said, I can send you to the reform school. And from what I knew of the reformatory school, I didn't want to go there. I cleaned up a little, but I still was bad. And we went into, I decided to go into the hotel and catering department. Mind you, I was in the sciences before, and they expected that I would continue in the sciences to study physics and chemistry and all of that. But I was into the hotel industry. I wanted to be a part of that. Little did I know, the path that I was on was not going to take me where I needed to go. Or maybe I would have been dead before I was 20. But the Lord had it to be whereby I went into hotel and catering. And lo and behold, this short Irish woman called Mary Now was the head of the department there. And very quickly, me and her buck, because I thought I was bad. I was smoking, I was cutting class, I was drinking, stuff like that, right? And man, one day I was like trying to intimidate the other guys in class. We had this staring contest. I staring these guys down. And I don't know, she must have seen it from some direction behind me. So all I see, she come behind me, push the guy out of the way, stare me down. And you believe I lose that one? Apparently, she used to be a prison guard in a prison in England.
Wow.
And she when I tell you she was tough on us, almost every guy who was in hotel and catering before were bad boys. When I tell you bad boys, these guys had reputations that were like reputations. No one wanted to fool with hotel and catering in Hawksville High School back in the day, in the early 80s. And she changed my life. One, she showed me that she cared. Bradley, this woman was so tough on us that she got the toughest of guys to behave, the toughest of guys to move towards doing something meaningful with their lives. Some of us didn't make it. A lot of us went, the wrong way, but a lot of us did make it. Why? Because she cared. She showed that she loved us, even though she was hard on us. She showed that she loved us, and she created an environment for us to learn. Bradley, when I talk to you about the power of your words, her words made a difference in our lives. That's why I talk about that environment. When we were in hotel and catering, the other teachers were angry with her because she stood up for us. When we would make mistakes, well, it wasn't really a mistake, it was badness, it was misbehaving. But she would stand up for us and then she would discipline us. And oftentimes her discipline was worse than if the office had disciplined you. But what I'm saying is that she used her department and she created an environment where we could learn and grow. And a lot of the young men changed the way they were going. And they are now meaningful members of society. All I can say is that if we build an environment with our words, whether it be personal or a group of men, build an environment where we can all share and benefit each other and give words that are uplifting each other, we'll get to the point whereby all those men will feel free to share. And that's how it used to be back in the day. Listen, Bradley, I can remember from cutting school, smoking dope on the track, going by Pompey for liquor, just being wayward. Our class turned around to whereby we were coming to school early, and I was helping some of the guys who had issues with some of the courses, some of the classes we had. And we were doing class before class even begun at 9.
Wow.
That's like a major turnaround. And it was all because of what this woman did. What she said made an impact. The environment she created caused us to realize that, looking into your book wasn't punkish. You wasn't a sissy for just studying. And then she also pointed us to something, you can do this and you can achieve this. And she started to point us to goals that we could achieve. For some people, it seemed far off, but then afterwards, we started to think about it and we started to help each other. And the change came.
That's some good stuff. Excuse me. That's some good stuff right there. Any more questions to our listening audience? If you have any questions, please feel free to ask your questions. Our time is coming to an end very quickly. Remember, we talked about going for an hour and a half. We're almost at the hour and a half mark, bro.
I thought an hour would have been long. But
Once you get to talking, the time just is fly by. Um,
yeah,
so I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please share the live. Once we would have ended, you'll be able to share it. So please share it on your Facebook feed, so that other persons can watch it and they can comment and ask questions. For those of you, I was supposed to share this earlier. Um,
go ahead.
this kind of a shameless plug right here. For the men, the market experience, I know that we've been out of commission for about 3 years due to COVID and the restrictions. But this year, guys, I am putting something together just for us. So we should be coming together again in March. So please look out for the flyer. Um, I have some things in the works, so please stay tuned. Everything is posted on social media, so you will get your WhatsApp message, or you'll see it on Facebook. So look out for that. Um, I have my good friend, Dr. Oliver Reed. He's ready to come down to hang out with us for the weekend. So
Excellent.
we'll be doing some stuff in March. So March 18th, the weekend of March 18th. So please mark your calendars. Please block that out for the Band Cave experience. Don't plan anything else for that weekend because we can be doing some stuff. All right, guys. Excuse me. So I just wanted to plug that in there. Um, I don't see any questions coming in. If you have any comments that you want to add, please feel free to do so now. Before we end the live, I want to thank Whitney Bain for all that he would have shared with us tonight. I couldn't think of a better person to have this conversation with. The power of your words. Where do words come from? Where do we form our words? A lot of times we watch stuff, we listen to other conversations, and then we form an opinion of something, and then we go and we share that opinion that was formed based on the information that we would have received and processed. So that's not actually our words. Sometimes we go and we share what persons would have said, but we have to be true to ourselves, form our own opinions of things, and share those things. And we have to be intentional about the words that we speak, even concerning our very own lives. Um, so begin to speak. If you have been silent, I would encourage you to speak. I've been guilty of that, being silent in certain situations. So I'm encouraging myself as well to speak. I don't
Yeah.
want you to feel like because me and Whitney are having the conversation that we have it all together. I can assure you that we don't
Not
have
at
it all.
all.
So all of us are on this journey together. Um, we're here to grow and help each other to grow, to encourage each other. So um, be intentional about the words that you speak. And like I said, if you have been silent, please begin to speak. Speak life, speak into the situations that you're facing, that you're dealing with. And
Amen.
watch things begin to turn around. I'm about saying life and death is in the power of the tongue. Yes, Roberta, I started off with that. When I
Yeah.
first started live, I mentioned that life and death is in the power of the tongue. We don't remember how powerful that small member is. So we have to be mindful of that, how powerful that member is. Um, when you're talking to your friends, when you're talking to your co-workers, when you're talking to your children, when you're just talking,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when you're having those staff meetings with yourself, when you're talking to yourself, you have to be mindful of the words that you're saying to yourself too.
Right.
So let's be intentional about it, man. And let's create environments or be in environments. Put ourselves in environments that is conducive for our growth and progress. If you don't feel comfortable in an environment, leave. You don't have to sit there and take in what's being said and done in that environment. You can get up and leave. It doesn't matter where it is or who it is. It doesn't matter who invited you there. If it ain't beneficial to you, peace. The deuces, we go deuces. You
Yeah.
gotta leave. You can't sit down and absorb all that negativity.
Yeah.
So let's begin to do that in 2023. Let's make sure that the environments that we're in is conducive for our progress. Our progress. We progressing.
Amen.
Progression in 2023. So thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I'm going to share some of the nuggets that Whitney shared with us. I'll post it so that you can have it as a reminder. And if you have any, whatever your takeaways are, please share those takeaways with us as well. So you can do that right under the live. Share your takeaways with us. It doesn't matter how many it is. Some persons may have one, some may have five, some may have 10, some may have 15. Please share as many takeaways that you may have from this conversation today. Hey, Roberto, what you saying? If you decree a thing, it shall be established. Oh, yeah, I forget to mention that. My aunt shared that one. If you decree a thing, it shall be
Yes.
established. And as well, guys, we have to be in the right posture and in the right position when we do speak, to make sure that we can see the door so that we can walk through the door, so that we can take advantage of any opportunities that may come our way. We can't just speak something and then we don't prepare, we don't do the work. We have to do the
Right.
work. We have to do the work. Align yourself with the frequency of heaven. That's a good one. That's one of Roberto's takeaway is align yourself with the frequency of heaven. Yes, we have to align ourselves with the frequency of heaven. Um,
Hey, Bradley,
Go ahead.
if I can also mention this, it's time for us to stop wasting time. If we look at all that has happened over the last few years, some of it is out of our control. Granted, that's been the case. But let us not waste time this year or any years going into the future as the Lord gives us life. Put your feet to the road and move forward. Whatever thing that you want to accomplish, do your research about it, get your resources and prepare yourself concerning it, and execute. We've wasted too much time on too many things for it to do any good to us. We have to move forward resolutely right now to do and make any kind of inroads in our lives. Our children are looking at us, our grandchildren are looking at us, our brothers and sisters, those around us are looking at us to say, well, where is he going? What is she doing? What do they seek to accomplish? If we waste time, if we fool around with so many different foolishness, allowing all that noise to come into our fray and distract us, it will allow us to be unproductive, and we don't have time to waste. I'll share this one last story, Brad. I know we got to cut off, but do you know what a red herring is?
A red herring.
Yeah, a red herring.
I think I don't. I sort of.
Okay, my understanding of a red herring is this. Back in the day when they would do quite a bit of fox hunting in England, obviously they would catch the foxes, they would cause the dogs to get the scent of the fox, they would release the fox, get the dogs to chase the fox, and obviously once the dog catch the fox, they would kill the fox. But oftentimes they would train the dogs or heighten the dog's ability to stay focused by using a red herring. A red herring is a fish.
Okay.
And as those dogs would be chasing after the fox, someone else would pull a red herring across the path that the fox just went over. And the strong scent of that red herring, for those dogs that are not skilled enough to avoid the distraction of the scent, it causes them to lose the scent of the fox. But oftentimes, as the dogs become more used to this distraction, they would avoid the scent of the red herring and try to stick on the scent of the fox. And they would get to the scent, they would get to the fox eventually. Okay, so they would get to their goal. My point is this. If you're a man or a woman, whomever is listening, avoid distractions. Identify those things in your life that are time wasters, that cause your energy to be depleted, and that cause you not to be focused. They are red herrings. They are being sent to move you from accomplishing what you need to accomplish. Move the red herrings out of the way. Keep your scent or keep your eyes on where you need to go. And execute, execute, execute. Do not waste time. That's my last word.
All right, guys. Stop wasting time. That's what we ended on. We're gonna end on that note. Stop wasting time. As your brother says, redeem the time for the days are evil.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me. So stop wasting time. Let's do what we need to do so that we can put ourselves in a better position for ourselves, and for those of us that have children, for our children, and for those of us that have grandchildren, for our children's children.
Yeah.
Let's do what is necessary to get us to the place that we need to be. So thank you so much for tuning into this live with us today. I know you could have been doing something else. You could have been watching one of those videos.
Yeah.
You could have been watching one of those videos on TikTok or something. But thank you so much for gracing us with your presence today. It is
Yes,
greatly
thank you.
appreciated. I do pray that you would have taken something from this conversation today, something that you can apply to your life to make you a better person, to put you in a better position, to prepare you for where it is that you need to go. Like I said, please share your takeaways with us so that, something that may have been said, someone could have missed it. So your takeaway, they'll be able to see what that is, what they would
Mm.
have missed. So thank you, Whitney, for having this conversation with me again. You are
Yes, sir.
greatly appreciated, sir. I just want you to know
Pleasure,
that
man.
I appreciate you, man. And a happy new year to you again. Happy new year to all of you that are
Yes.
tuned in.
Happy New Year.
I'm leaving sharper than I came. Thank you from Roberto. Thank you, brother. It's so good to have you on this live with us
Amen.
today. Um, Happy New Year to everyone. I pray that you will have great success in your endeavors this year. We have 365 days of blank pages, y'all. So
Wow. I love that.
make it purposeful, make it intentional this year. You start fresh. This is day one. You could go and sit down and you could write some of your takeaways. Your first page. Your
Hmm.
takeaways could be some of the things on your first page for 2023. Um, so do well. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys do well. I'm looking for the post for your progress. And I'm going to be sharing mine as well. So look out for mine because I'm going to have some things to post this year. So enjoy the rest of your evening with your families, your friends, whatever it is that you have planned. Please enjoy your evening and thank you again.
All right, Bradley. Blessings.
All right.